This conference will now be recorded.
Chaturmukha Samarambham Vakbhadacharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryandam Vande Guru Paramparam Ragadirogan Sadatanushaktan Asheshakaya Prasrutan Asheshan Aulsukya Moharadidan Jakhana Yopurva Vaidyaya Namostu Tasmai. Again, namaskaram to all the participants. We are continuing with the chapter Rasbhediyam, and we discussed the 33rd shloka in our last session. That means Madhuram Shleshmalam Prayo Jirnad Shaliyavadhride Mudgad Godhumata Kshadrad Sitaya Jangalamishad. Then comes Prayomlam Pitta Jananam Dadimamalagadhride. I think that also we discussed. Anyway, we will go through that one line again. Prayomlam Pitta Jananam Dadimamalagad Hrude. Dadimamalagad Hrude. Except Dadimam and Amalagam. Dadimamalagad Hrude. Except Dadimam and Amalagam. Amlam. Amla Rasadravyas. Amla Rasadravyas. Prayaha Pitta Janana. Prayaha Pitta Jananam. So, except Dadimam and Amalagam, all the members of the Amla group, in general or by and large, Praya, Pitta Janana. Pitta Jananam, something which increases or generates Jananam, which generates Pittam, Pitta Jananam. So, we find two exceptions here, but there may be others as well, but this can be taken as an example. So here we find except these two, Dadimam and Amalagam. So these are again, as we discussed in the case of Madhura Rasa, these are all very important ideas because the Ayurvedic approach towards the chikitsa has got a very important connection with rasa, the concept of rasa. And this rasa is, as we have seen in multiple situations earlier, including our previous chapter called Dravyadi Vijnaniyam. This rasa is one principal linking point or link, that is enough, a principal link connecting the dravya and dosha. Based on the Samanya Vishesha Siddhanta. Tatradhyaha marudam ghanandi trayastikhtadaya kapham kashaya tikta madhuraha pittam anyetu kurvate. From Ayushkami. That is a very fundamental idea. Very fundamental idea. And many things are derived out of it. Dravyas are of many rasas, and rogas are of many doshas. Rogas are of many types of dosha combinations. Dravyas are of many rasa combinations. And finding that connection, how the individual rasa, either independently or in combination, alone or in combination, influences the doshas, either alone or in combination. In Charaka, we will find descriptions of this, and we can find Vagbhada taking this idea very precisely and beautifully in Bheshajavacharaniyam. Tatra anekadoshatmageshu vyadhishu anekaraseshu cha bheshajeshu. That is it. Anekadoshatmageshu vyadhishu anekaraseshu cha bheshajeshu. That is the connection. Then how to link them? रसदोषप्रभावमेकैकशः अभिसमीक्ष्य व्याधिभेषजप्रभावतत्त्वं व्यवस्थेत. This is one important training. If a student is to be trained in the basic Ayurvedic clinical methodology, this technique should be uh, made clear. Tatra अनेकदोषात्मकेषु व्याधिषु अनेकरसेषु च भेषजेषु रसदोषप्रभावमेकैकशः अभिसमीक्ष्य व्याधिभेषजप्रभावतत्त्वं व्यवस्थेत. So, understanding the influence of rasas on doshas, that is very important. Rasas are basically available in the form of dravyas. You cannot use rasas as such. They are available in the form of dravyas which contain the rasas. So, two things. Number one, the rasa swabhava, then dravya swabhava. Or in some other way, rasa prabhavam and dravya prabhavam. So here coming to this prayomlam pitta jananam, that is with the rasa prabhavam. Amla means pitta jananam. So the rasa prabhavam. So from that we make some sort of an extension that all amla rasa dravyas are pitta janagas. Pitta janaga dravyas. That is rasa prabhava. But when you take these amla rasa dravyas one after the other and consider their specific interest in this subject or their specific influence on doshas, then we are making an evaluation whether the dravya prabhava is in tune with the rasa prabhava, whether all the amla rasa dravyas are pitta janakas. Then we find that okay, no, Dadimamalagadhrde. Dadimam and amalagam are, even though they are amla rasadravyas, are not pitta janakas. They are not pitta janakas. So that gives some extra possibility as far as the Vaidya is concerned. Amla rasa has got many gunas and karmas which we have seen earlier. Amlo agni deeptikrit, snigdhaha, hrudyaha, pajana rojanaha, ushnaviryaha, himasparshaha, preenanaha, kledanaha, laghu, mudhavada anulomanaha, many things. It is hrudyam, it is deepana pajanam, it is mudhavada anulomanam, it is tarpanam, kledanam. So in a clinical situation, say for example, we require something which is hrudya. We don't find any other rasa which is hrudya. Hrudya is a peculiar word. It reflects two meanings. Number one, something which is inclined towards an avayava called hridaya, hrid, and secondly, it is inclined towards an attitude which is related to the mind, hridya, something like manasapriyam. Manasapriyam is also sometimes referred to as hridya. So in various disease conditions where anna anabhilasham is there, or the individual is looking for something which is hridyam, generally amlam is an option. We can find the use of many amla dravyas in ahara kalpana, aushadha kalpana as well. But suppose a given situation needs this potential of hridya guna of amla rasa, but unfortunately the dosha status is paitika. So what? The freedom with which the amla rasa can be used is getting restricted, because even though amlam is hridyam, it is pitta prakopi. So obviously we look for something which is hridyam, that way amlam, but not pitta prakopi or not pitta janaka. That is a very important point. Then comes these two examples, dadimam and amalagam. Prayomlam pitta jananam, dadima amalagaadhrute. We can find this clinically applied in many situations. Jwaram is the best example, maybe the simplest and best. ऊष्मा पित्तादृदे नास्ति ज्वरो नास्ति ऊष्मणा विना तस्माल पित्त विरुद्धानि त्यजेल पित्ताधिगे अधिगम. We find this in ज्वर चिकित्सा. ऊष्मा पित्तादृदे नास्ति ज्वरो नास्ति ऊष्मणा विना तस्माद पित्त विरुद्धानि त्यजेल. तस्माद पित्त विरुद्धानि त्यजेल पित्ताधिगेधिगम. पित्ताधिगे अधिगम त्यजेद. Then this is a general rule of Jara Chikitsa. Coming to the Anna Kalpana, In Jvaradhikara, when the Annakalam comes, Praglajapeyam Sujaram Sashundhi Dhanya Pippalim Sasaindhavam. That is the first diet prescribed. Praglajapeyam Sujaram Sashundhi Dhanya Pippalim Sasaindhavam. Then, next clause. Amlarthi, the patient is Amlarthi. Amlarthi. What will we do? Amlam is Pitta Jananam. Jara nasti Ushmana vina tasmal Pitta Viruddhani Tyajed. So we should look for something which is Amla. The individual Adura is Amlarthi. So we should get Amla which is not Pitta Varthaka. So Tadha Amlarthi Tan Pibet Saha Dadimam. Dadimam Saha Tan Pibed. Tadha Amlarthi Tan Pibet Saha Dadima. So we find a clinical use, application of this Prayomlam Pitta Jananam Dadimam Lagadrude. This can be seen in other situations as well. Even if it is not, maybe you fail to find an exact situations in the clinical textbooks, in your practice, whenever there is a pitta predominant condition but the individual seeks amla, you can go for this. So that is about prayomlam pitta jananam dadimamalagadrude. Then we find lavana. Apathyam lavanam prayaha chakshushaha anyatra saindhavad. Apathyam lavanam prayas chakshushonyatra saindhavad. Saindhavad anyatra. Saindhavad rute prayaha, almost always, most probably, lavanam chakshushaha apathyam. Apathyam, unwholesome, not good, not advisable. Not advisable because it can be harmful. That is why it is not advisable. Harmful to chakshushaha, for the netras. Chakshushaha apathyam lavanam. Generally, all lavana dravyas are chakshushaha apathyam. Lavana dravyas are in general chakshushaha apathyam, are not good for eyes. Anyatra saindhavad, except saindhavam. Saindhavam does not bear such a label that this is chakshushaha apathyam. It is not so. Instead, it is good for chakshus. We all know saindhavam tatra saswadu vrishyam hrudyam trudosanud leghu anushnam drishapatyam. Leghu anushnam drishaha patyam. Good for drik, drishaha patyam. Avidahi agni deepanam. They are all connected actually. When it is avidahi, then itself it is gaining some sort of a see the capacity to be useful in situations of netra chikitsa. Saindhavam tatra saswadu vrishyam hrudyam trudosanud leghu anushnam. So it is trudosanud. It is trudoshaharam. Leghu anushnam drishah patyam avidahi agni deepanam. So here apathyam lavanam prayaschakshushoanyatra saindhavad. Then we find tiktam and kadu given together. What is it? Tiktam kaduja bhuishtham avrishyam vadakopanam hrude mrida padolibhyam shundhi krishna rasonatah. Tiktam kaduja bhuishtham avrishyam vadakopanam hrude mrida padolibhyam shundhi krishna rasonatah. What does it say? Tiktam kadu cha bhuishtham. Bhuishtham, almost always, most often. Tiktam kadu cha. Tiktarasa and kadurasa are avrishyam. Avrishyam. Vrishya viparitam. Not good for the Shukradhatu. It is avrishya. And vadakopanam. Vadakopanam. That increases, provokes vayu. So it is bhuishta. The most probable chance is given. Most probably. But there are exceptions. What are they? Hrude mrida padolibhyam shundhi krishna rasonatah. Hrude mrida padolibhyam. Amrida padolibhyam hrude. Amrida padolibhyam hrude. Shundhi krishna rasonatah hrude cha. Shundhi krishna rasonatah hrude cha. The first set, that means Amrida Padolibhyam represents the Tikta group, and Shundhi, Krishna and Rasonam, they include in the Kadurasa group. So two groups are given separately as exceptions for what we have seen as the Samanyam. That means Avrishyam and Vatakopanam. Amrita and Padoli are not Avrishya, not Vadakopana, even though they are Tiktarasa Dravyas. Even though they are Tiktarasa Dravyas. Similarly, Shundhi, Krishna and Rasonam. Shundhi, Krishna and Rasonam, though coming under Kadurasa Dravyas, are not Avrishyam and Vadakopanam. They are not Vadakopanam, not Avrishyam. They are exempted from that list. Tiktam Kaduja Bhuishtam Avrishyam Vadakopanam Hrude Mrida Padolibhyam Shundhi Krishna Rasonatah. Now we will see the next rasas. Next rasa, that is Kashayam. Kashayam Prayasha Sheetam Stambhanam cha Abhayam Vina. Kashayam Prayasha Sheetam Stambhanam cha Abhayam Vina. Stambhanam cha Abhayam Hrude. Such a padham is also there. Stambhanam cha Abhayam Hrude. Meaning is same. Prayasaha, as we have seen in the previous shlokas, most often Kashayam, Kashaya rasa is Sheetam Stambhanam cha. Sheetam Stambhanam cha is having Sheeta Guna and Sheeta Virya and Stambhana. Ama Samstambhana. It is Stambhanam. Then Stambhanam is about Malastambhanam as well. It is Malastambhanam as well. Then, which is the exempted member in that group? Abhayam Vina, except Abhaya, Abhaya, Haritaki. Haritaki, even though coming under the Kashaya Rasa group, even though it comes under the Kashaya Rasa group, it is neither Shida nor Stambhana. It is not Shida and Stambhana. We all know Kashayam, Prayasa, Shidam. Shida property is actually somewhere in between as far as Abhaya is concerned. There will be differences in opinion about the Vidya of Abhaya. So I think there may be many types, no? There may be many types. Generally, it is a Ushna Virya Dravya. Ushna Guna Dravya, Ushna Virya Dravya. Kashaya Madhura Page. That is how we find the description of Abhaya. Kashaya Madhura Page. Then Ruksha Vilavana Lakhu Deepani Pachani Medhya Vayasasthapani Param. So it is Pajani. Pajani means Ama Pajani. Generally, Kashaya Rasa means Ama Samstambhanam and Grahi as well. But here it is Ushna Virya Sara. So it crosses over those two significant characteristics of Kashaya Rasa. That means Shita Rasa, Shita Virya and Stambhana. Shita Virya and Stambhana. It is Ushna Virya and Pajanam as well as Saram. So it promotes Malapravritti, it promotes the Pajana of Ama. It is Pajana Dravya. So, as far as the Kashaya Skanda is concerned, Haritagi is an exception. Then, now we are looking into the other characteristics of these rasas in general based on some landmark features. We find in the shloka Rasa Katwamla Lavana Viryenoshna Yadhottaram Tikta Kashayo Madhurah Tadvadevacha Sheetalah. Tikta Kadu Kashayascha Ruksha Baddhamalas Patwamla Madhuraha Snigdhaha Srishta Vinmutramarutaha Padoh Kashaya Tasmacha Madhura Paramam Guruhu Laghuramlah Kadus Tasmadapicha Tiktakaha. Tasmadapicha Tiktakaha. We will see what is explained in these 6 lines. Rasaha Katwamla Lavanaha Viryenoshna Yadhottaram. Here we find a comparison made between rasas having similar properties, some sort of a taratamyam or taratamatvam. Taratamatvam. How is it? First, Ushnaviryam is taken as the point of reference. Ushnaviryam. So based on Ushnaviryata, so in the total number of 6 rasas, we find 3 are having Ushnavirya. That they are Amla, Lavana and Kadu. Amla, Lavana and Kadu. So these three are Ushna. Then there is a question, is there a comparison, some sort of a Taratamyam available? So to clear that point, we find this chronology. What is it? Kattuamla lavanaha rasaha yathottaram वीर्येण यथोत्तरम उष्णाः. कट्वम्ल लवणाः रसाः वीर्येण यथोत्तरम उष्णाः. यथोत्तरम उष्णाः वीर्येण. That means kadu amla lavana, the order kadu amla lavana represents these three rasas arranged with their Ushna Viryata increasing. So this is an arrangement of three Ushna Virya rasas from minimum to maximum. Accordingly, Kadurasa is Ushna Virya, Amla Rasa is Ushna Taram, Lavana is Ushna Tamam, Kadu is Ushnam, Amlam is Ushna Taram, Lavanam is Ushna Tamam. Similarly, in the same manner, Tikta Kashayo Madhuraha Tadvad Eva Shitalaha. Tadvad Eva Cha Shitalaha. Means the three rasas having Shita Guna or Shita Virya, that means Madhura Rasaha, Tikta Rasaha and Kashaya Rasaha. These three can be arranged in an order of gradually increasing Shita Virya, can be arranged in an order of increasing Shita Virya, and that order will be Tiktaha, Kashayaha, Madhuraha cha. Tikta is Shita Virya, Kashaya is Shita Tara, Madhura is Shita Tama. Madhura is Shita Tamam. So, as far as the increasing order of Ushna is concerned, Kadu is Ushnam, Amlam is Ushnataram, Lavanam is Ushnatamam. As far as Sheetalata is concerned, Tikta is Sheetam, Kashaya is Sheetataram, Madhura is Sheetatamam. Just for arranging these 6 rasas on a scale which is based on the Shitoshna Viryata. Shitam and Ushnam are the measures of the same quality actually, no? They are the measures of the same quality, means temperature, when we take them as a physical characteristic. But in Ayurveda, many a times, these Shita Viryata or Ushna Viryata is all based on the influence that they can make on a living body, or the way in which a living body is responding to a dravya, to the usage of a dravya with that particular characteristic, isn't it? So it is not just about a measure of temperature. Sheetam is actually generally as a basic norm. Sheetam is defined as something which has got the capacity to do stambhanam. Similarly, Ushnam is supposed to be the one which is having the capacity to bring Svedana. That is the idea of Ushnam. If we go to through what is the real meaning, or in Ayurvedic premises, what is the meaning of Shidam or Ushnam? I think you can find explanations given by the acharyas. Hladana stambhana shido murchatrit sweda dahajit. That is what we call as Shidam. So one classical feature among this list is stambhanaha. Hladanaha stambhanaha shitaha. Ushnaha tad viparitaha. Ushnaha swedanaha. And not hladanaha but tapanaha. It is tapasantape, tapanaha. Something which causes santapam. Whereas shidam is something which is causing prahladam. So actually they can be arranged on one single line. On a single x-axis, these can be arranged, isn't it? It's a very simple logic. Nothing, any rocket science in it. It's a matter of common sense. So if we arrange them on such a scale, we find that Lavanam is on one end, which is Ushnatamam. Then comes Amlam, which is Ushnataram. Then comes Kadu, which is Ushnam. Then comes Tiktam, which is Shidam. Then comes Kashayam, which is Shidataram. Then comes Madhuram, which is Shidatamam. So that is how these six are arranged on a same x-axis with uh, that arrangement based on the Shidoshna Swabhava. It's very interesting. I'm not going to the other fine details. I think this is enough. I'm not going to elaborate the ideas based on the Buddha, nothing like that. So they can be arranged on a same scale where Lavana finds its space or place on one extreme, and Madhura finds its place on the other end. Then comes an arrangement based on Rukshada and Snigdhada. Rukshada and Snigdhada. Tikta Kadukashayascha Rukshaha. And with that Rukshada, what is happening? Baddhamalaha tatha. Tadha Baddhamalaha cha. Tiktaha Kadu Kashayascha. These three are the Ruksha Rasas. Tikta Kadu Kashaya. And they are Ruksha, and this order shows their increasing Rukshata. That means Tikta is Ruksha, Kadu is Rukshatara, Kashaya is Rukshatama. So obviously there Baddhamalatvam also will be in an increasing order. On the other side of the axis, you will find three rasas arranged based on their snigdhata. Then we find Padu is snigdha. Padu means lavana. Amla is snigdha tara, Madhura is snigdha tama. Madhura is snigdha tama. So again, on a common axis based on snigdha ruksha, we can arrange them as Kashayam is rukshatamam, Kadu is rukshataram, Tiktam is ruksham, Padu is snigdham, Amlam is snigdhataram, and Madhuram is snigdhatama. They also fall on the same axis with the Kashaya on one extreme and Madhura on the other. Now, one more arrangement of the six rasas based on Guru Laghu characteristics. That is what we are going to see in the next couple of lines. Padoho kashaya tasmacha madhuram tasmacha madhuraha paramam guru. Padoho kashaya tasmacha madhuraha paramam guru. Laghuramla kadus tasmad tasmadapija tiktakaha. Tasmadapija tiktakaha. Means, in the first line, we find three rasas arranged on the basis of increasing gurutva. So that way we understand that Lavana rasa is guru, Kashaya rasa is guru tara, Madhura is guru tama. Similarly, Amla is Laghu, Kadu is Laghu tara, and Tikta is Laghu tama. So if we arrange these six rasas on a common axis, then it becomes Madhura as the Gurutama, Kashaya as Gurutara, Lavana as Guru, Amlam as Laghu, Kadu as Laghutara, and Tiktam as Laghu Tama. Tiktam as Laghu Tama. I'll read out those 6 lines once again. That's all. Rasaha katvam lalavana viryenoshna yathottaram tikta kashayo madhuraha tadvadevacha shitalaha. Tikta kadu kashayascha ruksha baddhamalastadha pattvamla madhura snigdhaha srishta vinmutra marutaha. Pado kashayah tasmacha madhura paramam guruhu Laghuramla kadustasmad tasmadapija tiktakaha. Tasmadapija tiktakaha. Now, this idea can be seen accepted as such in Ashtanga Sangraha. But there are some mild differences in opinion in the certain characteristics, which is quite understandable, because all these things are, as we see earlier, prayasaha, bhuishtam, the space for some sort of an exception is provided, it is given, no issue, it is accepted, because ultimately these rasas or the rasayukta dravyas, they are not uniformly made or synthetically manufactured producers. They are, most of them are naturally available substances grown by the nature. So as we see in the case of that Gangambu, hita hitatve talbhuyo deshakalavapekshate. Gangambu nabhaso bhrashtam is having certain characteristics. But later, hida hidatve tad deshakalavapekshate. In the same way, under ideal test conditions, these things will be like this. But deshakalavapekshate, according to the desha kala, their changes, other influencing factors, there can be some changes which are to be accepted, which are to be taken for granted. That is how we find, that is how we understand certain differences in opinion. Say for example, amla rasa is accepted by Sushruta as guru. Similarly, Kashaya Rasa, which is explained as Guru in Ashtanga Hridaya or other textbooks, is explained by Sushruta as Lekhu. So that sort of differences, I think, they are there need not be a serious matter of contention. That space is there in all these explanations. I hope I am clear. Now we saw six groups of dravyas under the names of the six rasas, and you can find Vagbhada in Ashtanga Sangraha specifying the names of the best member in each group, the best candidate from each group. That comes like this: Kritamalaga Sindhutha Padoli Nagarabhayaha Shrestha Yadhaswam Skandheshu. Kritamalaga Sindhutha Sindhutha Padoli Nagarabhayaha Padoli Nagarabhayaha Shresthaha Yathaswam Skandheshu. So in Madhura Skandha, Kritam is the best candidate. Amla Skandha, Amalaka is the best candidate. In Lavana, Sindhutha. In Tikta, Padoli. In Kadu, Nagara. In Kashaya, Abhaya. So that nominations are also given in Ashtanga Sangraha. Again, in some textbooks or some versions of text, after this explanation of six rasas arranging in a peculiar pattern of increasing ushna shita or increasing ruksha snigdhata, like that, we will find another explanation, most probably which is not there in the original text, but it is there with many manuscripts, a few lines which shows some sort of a priority of selection of rasas in clinical situations based on doshas. So we find Tatradhyaha Marudam Ghanandi, Madhuram Amlam Lavanam, three rasas. They are having the capacity to Marudam Ghanandi, to bring the Vayu down from a Kupidavastha, bring Vayu down. Tatradhyaha Marudam Ghanandi. And we are going to treat a Maruda Vyadhi. So which one should be selected? Should I go for Madhura or Amla or Lavana? So all the three are Vadahara rasas. So which one should be opted for? So we find some sort of a guideline. Of course, none of these guidelines are to be taken as the ultimate rule, or some sort of a uh, kramam which are not to be violated. In some other condition, Vagbhada himself reminds us, Tandri Kuryanna tu kramam. But at least to violate, it will be nice to have a kramam, isn't it? So that kramam is what we find. How is it? Lavanad amla madhurau karyau syadam yathakramam vayor niranubandhasya pagashanti pravruttaye. लवणाद अम्लमधुरौ कार्यौ स्यादां यथाक्रमं वायोर्निरनुबन्धस्य पाकशान्ति प्रवृत्तये. निरनुबन्धस्य वायोः पाकशान्ति प्रवृत्तये. For controlling Vayu, for treating Vayu, what sort of Vayu? Niranubandha Vayu, without the association of any other doshas or any other elements like ama. Niranubandhasya Vayoho Pagashanti Pravruttaye Lavanad Amla Madhurau. The best will be Madhuram. But before going to Madhuram, you can try Lavanad, Lavanam, then Amlam, then Madhuram. That is one option suggested. Similarly, for Pitta, Praktikto Madhura Paschad Kashayonde Vidhiyade. First you go for Tikta, then for Madhura, Ande Kashayaha. That is one option given for Pitta. Type Pittam Shamam Abhedi Pakwa Chigrida Pinditam. Coming to Kabha, Kadu Prak. First go for Kadu. Tiktaga Paschad. Then go for Tiktaga. Kashayonde Vidhiyade. Last, opt for Kashaya. Taisleshma Shamam Abhedi Pakwa Chigrida Pintitaha. So this sort of a guideline we can find in certain manuscripts of Rasbhediya. So maybe I think I was highlighting it because somebody may be interested. That's all. Or it's a common sense question as well. Then now we will be moving forward to the Rasa Vikalpa Sankhya Nirnayam, which I think even if we start today, we will not be able to complete. So maybe we will go to that portion in our next day. There is one point in the chat box. Some patient eating raw green chili and raw cucumber 2 to 3 per day find mala avastambha. Any food which is tikta, kadu, kashaya and uncooked in is vadakara. According to me, cucumber is kashaya rasa pradhan. Sir, can you please clarify, is this correct? Of cucumber is kashaya rasa pradhan. The experience given is chili and raw cucumber 2 to 3 per day find malavastambha. And Dr. Ujjwala proposes that, okay, cucumber is kashaya rasa pradhana. So the question is whether it is kashaya rasa pradhana or not. Most of the members of this cucumber family, the rasa and its vipaka changes as it is growing. The very small one to the extremely pakwa one. During that course of growth, its rasa as well as vipaka changes. It is not the case of cucumber alone, but in many other cases it is the it is a classical example is sometimes maybe the Kushmandas. Most of the members of that Valli Bhalam is having this sort of a property, whether it is Alabu, whether it is Kushmanda, whether it is, I do not know what is the exact Sanskrit name for this cucumber. In any case, they generally show this sort of a tendency. So whether before coming to a conclusion about whether the cucumber is Kashaya Rasa Pradhana or not, we should look into the type of cucumber or the status of ripening of the cucumber that the person is consuming, or the one which we are discussing about. So I think Dr. Ujjwala, please look into the types of cucumber which is generally used in raw form, whether it is uh, pakwa or apakwa, bala, all these options. And then you yourself may come with a conclusion in our next session. Then one more note, what is the meaning of pakwa achigrita pinditam? We can find this pakwa achigrita pinditam in the shloka which I mentioned earlier in two situations about the kabha as well as pitta. That pakwa achigrita pinditam is I better connected with the Shleshma than with the Pitta. Here, that Pakwa Chigrita Pintidam replaces the description of Vayu, which we found as Niranubandha. So, in the case of Vayu, they mentioned it as Niranubandham to show that Niramam. So, in the same way, in the case of Pitta and Kapha, to indicate that there should be Nirama, this phrase is used, Pakwa Chigrita Pindita. Hope that idea is clear. So, with that, we can wind up today's session, I hope. Thank you very much. Shubharatri. Nilesh,
Yes, sir. Uh, we can wind up today's session. Thank you once again for making this session so interesting. Very simple things, but I think today's session, sir, has made it very interesting for all of us. Thank you, sir. Thank you all. Shubharatri.
thank you very much. Thank you. Shubharatri.